I did that first coat in a time-lapse video, but it went so fast. The coverage is really, really good with this paint, and it's got just a beautiful, almost metal look. So it's almost like keeping it metal, which I love the look of the old metal, but giving it a little bit more rust protection than you would if you just left her alone. So far I'm really, really impressed. Trying to make sure I get good coverage everywhere.
Guys, notice that the small washer is on the wrong side of that lead screw. It should be on the inside where the collar is at, and it's not. So I corrected that off camera, but I wanted to make sure you guys noted it and were clear on it so that you didn't make that same mistake. It won't fit quite properly. You'll have just a little bit of gap between the lead screw and the dynamic jaw.
Well, guys, we got her done. She looks beautiful. I know a lot of guys are going to gripe about, maybe not getting this slide perfectly polished, but that if you know anything about how I do my videos and my restorations, that's not really me. I'm not into making them super shiny and polishing them. I linseed oiled the lead screw and the handle, so that's been done, and it looks really, really nice. Glued the jaws. I really like that. So essentially, I used a gun blue from Birchwood and just blackened or blued the jaws. They look really cool. I like that. The jaws aren't perfect. These jaws I could have ground on forever and a day, and they probably still wouldn't be perfect. I blued the pin, so I was going to leave that silver, and I after bluing the jaws, I liked it so much, I thought, geez, that's kind of cool. Now, a part of me wishes that I wouldn't even have painted this, and I could easily strip it down, and maybe I'll end up doing that at some point, but I think it looked kind of cool, just a little bit darker pin, and just had darkened that entire pin. I think that'd been pretty neat. But anyways, I've blued that pin from here down, and then from here up, it's paint. It's the same dark bronze paint. I painted the Prentiss New York with a metallic silver, so it's somewhat subtle. It's not super bright. A lot of times I use stuff that really stands out. As you can see, the yellow and the green Wilton next to me here. I kind of was going for something a little more subtle with this particular vise. So let's talk a little bit about this vise. already mentioned the boiled linseed handle and the bluing that I've done. This is a rear swivel jaw vise. So what that means is that jaw swivels. So it did have a little bit of a catch in this, and I just filed down a little bit of the casting where it was just catching. Pretty simple to do, but now it swivels just beautifully. I mean, beautiful. The jaw, the vise is just wonderful. There's no breaks in this jaw. There's no cracks in it. It's fantastic. It's a wonderful, wonderful vise. Prentiss, New York is the company that made it, and they should be proud. This is a wonderful little vise. Now, I did have an issue here. If you recall, I didn't have anything. This normally would have like a little lever with kind of a lobe on it, and you would lift up on that, and then you would move your vise. Well, I didn't have that. What I did have is this little brass thing, and this is off of an old piano. So what I did is I threaded the rod that goes down into this little piston, and then I screwed this on, and then what that does, and I also got rid of the heavy duty spring. It had a super heavy spring that, boy, it hurt my fingers just to pull up on a thing. So now I've got a nice spring that it holds it certainly firmly, but doesn't get crazy. So it's real simple. You just pull that up. You pull it up, and when you turn it, it'll snap down in place. So in this case, I've got the vise reversed. So the 3 tabs are here. They should be the other way around. So all of my holes are kind of on this side here. So it's got multiple positions for locking. And again, this seems odd probably because, you know, it's locking with the vise over here. Again, this is not my permanent, it's not the permanent place where I'm going to have this vise. So, real happy with the way that turned out. A bunch of guys are going to go, what is this vise used for? Because I can't tell you, first of all, every time I buy a vise like this, they don't even know that the rear jaw pivots. Most of them are locked up. This one was locked up, but it didn't take a lot to free up. If you watched part 1, definitely watch part 1, the takedown or the disassembly. This thing came out like butter, nothing to it. I mean, it took a little bit of coercing, but really not much. So guys will say, you know, well, Chris, what's a rear swivel jaw vise good for? Well, it's good for parts like this, where you need to clamp something that isn't parallel in a jaw or in a vise, and you want to get a good grip on it. So with parallel jaws, I clamp something like this in them. So I'm getting grip here, but I'm really not touching here, and I'm really not touching there. I hope you can see that. I hope that's coming up on camera. So what a rear swivel jaw vise does is it takes that and now I'm gripping here, 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 and here. I've got 4 points of contact at least anyways, and this is not even that good of a wedge, but it gives me a much more secure grip on this. So if I've got to grind 5, guys will say it's gimmicky, I don't get it. Just a lot of things that honestly don't make sense. Let me give you another example. So, and I just looked over and saw my little hatchet. So this hatchet is wedged. It's triangulated. So again, it's a situation where the vise will automatically turn. I don't have to adjust the vise. Let me, so the jaws are parallel. The jaws will adjust themselves. So that jaw will seek and find the parallel for the work and not the parallel to the jaw, the opposite jaw. So really pretty neat, and it really, I mean, the grip on this thing is ridiculous. And I've not torqued down on it because, again, this is probably going to go to somebody, and either I'm going to sell it to someone or I'm going to make a deal with my leathersmith. So not gimmicky at all, guys. These vices are awesome. I can't tell you how handy they can be when you need it. And I'll be honest with you, I love them. I absolutely think they're so undervalued. I think this is a special vise. So now what I'll do is I'll bring you in and I'll walk you around this thing and just let you look at it. It's pretty as can be, so enjoy. Thank you guys. By the way, thanks for watching. Don't forget, subscribe, comment, do whatever you want to do. If you got some negative comment, no problem with negative feedback. Just, give me some reasons why. Thank you. Lots and lots of life still left in those jaws. That's that little brass knob.